everyone, so I thought I would do my updated foundation routine. I got requested to do it, so I'm going to show you guys how I do my foundation currently. And this is the foundation that I use for going to school, for going to work, when I'm running errands, basically when I'm out during the day, because it has a good amount of SPF in it, which I think is very important for those of us who are going to be outside. So I hope you guys enjoy and have a great time watching. Hopefully this helps those of you who have the same skin as I do, so stay tuned if you want to learn how to do more. So the first thing you're going to want to do is apply your primer. So what I do is I apply my Secret Finish mattifying gel from Laura Mercier, and I just take a little bit of this and I just apply this to the areas of my skin that are quite oily. Now, because this is my day-to-day routine, I don't like to put too much things on my skin. I try to put as minimal amount of product as I can, because most of the time when I wear this foundation, I'm usually going to school or running errands and I don't have time to touch up, and I don't want to look cakey, and I just like to look really natural and flawless at the same time. So now that I apply that all over my skin, so that was the Laura Mercier Secret Finish mattifying gel. So my skin looks kind of nice and matte now, which is what I wanted. And I'm going to move on while I'm letting this kind of do. While I'm letting that do its little thing, I like to leave it on for a little while before I apply my foundation, just because I feel like if you put your foundation on immediately after you put your primer on, you're not really going to let your primer do what it's supposed to do. So while I'm letting it do that, I'm going to put the Trish McEvoy Eye Essential Base in Nude. This is one of my favorite products to use for the eye area. You only need a little bit, and it just kind of evens out the lid. I do this every day, whether I'm going to wear eyeshadow or not, because it primes the lid for eyeshadow and also evens out the coloring of it. It's one of my favorite products to use. I use it every day out the edges. So that just woke up my eyelids and really prepped them for eyeshadow. So now that I have that done, I'm going to move on to my foundation. I'm using the Laura Mercier Tinted Moisturizer with SPF 20. This is in the color Sand, which is right there for you. So you can see that I'm using both Laura Mercier primer and foundation. I think they work really well together, so that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to clean off my hands a bit because I do have some of that eye essential base on them, so I'm going to clean them off. And I'm going to put on my foundation. Now, you could apply this with a brush. I like using my hands just because I feel like using brushes with foundations kind of uses up too much product. So what I'm going to do is just take a little bit on my hand and then just start blending it out. And since it's a tinted moisturizer, it's going to be really smooth at first. So I'm just going to lightly work it into the skin until I feel it's really gotten in there. Make sure I get down here. I feel like using my hands really makes it look more natural than applying it with my brush. Plus, it makes my skin feel really hydrated. Today for my lip balm, I used the Lady Soma Lady Mint Tingle. Lady Tingle Mint, something like that. It's really, really nice. I really, really like that stuff. I use it every night before I go to bed, and I wake up, my lips feel a lot more hydrated. So after I apply my foundation, I apply the Trish McEvoy Correct and Brighten. This is in the shade 1. This product is really good for those of you who have foundation that's maybe a little bit too dark for you, or maybe a shade too dark for you. I bought this one recently, so I bought it in a darker shade just because it's going to get quite hot and sunny here, so I know I'm going to get tan pretty quickly, but I wanted to use it right away, so it's a shade, maybe one shade too dark for me. So what I'm going to do is what I do to fix that is I use the Correct and Brighten by Trish McEvoy. This is in the shade 1, and what I do is I do our triangle of light. When I say R, I mean it's because I use it all the time. So I do a line there, I do a line here, and a line here. Because my foundation is maybe a shade too dark for me, this really helps out with the coloring and giving me more of a natural kind of fix. So I apply that there. That's Trish McEvoy Correct and Brighten, shade 1. And I blend it out with a brush actually, opposed to using my hands. I don't like using my hands when I apply this product because it is quite liquidy. I'm taking the Real Techniques buffing brush by Samantha Chapman, and I'm just going to lightly kind of stipple this on. I love this brush for a lot of reasons, mainly for foundation and concealing large areas. It works really well. So the Correct and Brighten isn't going to give any coverage. It's going to just do what it says. It's going to correct the colors and brighten the area. So it shouldn't be used as a concealer. Just going to add a little bit of luminosity to the skin. A little bit of brightening. See how that area just got a lot more lighter. Now, what I'm going to do now is apply my concealer because I've already applied my Correct and Brightener. I'm going to move on to concealer. Now, I have several different types of concealers, but this is the one I like to use when I'm using Laura Mercier foundation. This is the MAC Select Cover Up in NC38. Mine's really, really low. I need to get a new one. But I really like this foundation when I use the Tinted Moisture just because it gives a better coverage and it doesn't, it's not as milky as the Cover FX. The Cover FX I like to use with other foundations, but when I'm using this particular foundation, I like to use this. So I'm going to take a little bit of that. Mine's really low, so mind me. I'll take some of that. I do like to use a lot of it because it works better that way. So what I'm going to do is just apply it to the areas where I need more coverage, which is a lot of areas for me apparently. So just roughly kind of put it on where I need the more coverage. Especially over here. A lot of areas here that need a lot more help. So now that I've already placed where I want to conceal, I'm going to blend it out with the same buffing brush. And the same kind of, in the same kind of order. So what I'm going to do is just stipple it on. And because this concealer is really heavy duty, it really does cover a good amount. And it blends out oh so beautifully. So just lightly stipple it on. Okay, and that's basically it. That's how I conceal. Very, very simple, not hard at all, just kind of stippling on the product. And it really does cover everything you want to cover. Alright, so now that we're all covered, the last thing you want to do is set all of this. Since we worked so hard to get this coverage, we want to make sure that it sets and stays there all day. So I'm going to use the Make It Forever HD setting powder, and I'm going to use that with the big 150 brush. Now this is a Sigma brush. I had someone ask me what brush I use. I use a various amount of different brushes. So now that I've always used this one for powdering. This is a big 150 from Sigma. But I know they changed the numbering, so it's just the big fluffy powder brush. So yeah, I've had the Sigma brushes for a very long time. Very great brushes, but I've had the old set, not the new ones with all the FF numbers. I just have the one that say SS. Take my big brush, dip it in, and I'm not going to swirl around the product. What I'm going to do is actually pat it in. So I'm just going to press it into the skin just like so. Kind of press it in. I hope you enjoyed that and got some inspiration how to apply your foundation. My whole philosophy on applying this foundation is really keeping the rest of the skin that's healthy and doesn't need any more coverage, very minimal, very natural, and not burdening it with all the other products you would put on the skin that has a lot more blemishes. So I hope that was inspiring and helpful. I just kind of came up with this on my own. I really didn't have any kind of reference besides just wanting to keep the rest of my skin that's very healthy, you know, natural looking. So I hope that was helpful. I'll give you one quick look at my foundation. It's very much a natural kind of look. So yeah, see you soon guys. Bye.